I want to tell you about a nerve that's been quietly running your life since the day you were born. It might have made you sneeze this morning. It's responsible for some of the worst pain a human being can experience. It can slow your heart down when you jump into cold water. And it's the reason why eating ice cream too fast feels like someone drove a screwdriver through your forehead. One nerve, all of that. I operate around this nerve every week, and honestly, it still surprises me. A quick note, this channel grew out of requests from some of my own patients who wanted a straightforward way to access good clinical information. If that's something you value too, please subscribe and leave a comment below. I do read them, and they generally shape what I make next. Thank you. Meet cranial nerve 5, the trigeminal nerve. It's named after the Latin word for triplet because it splits into 3 branches. These fan out across your entire face like roots of a tree. The top branch supplies the forehead, the eyes and the nose. The middle branch, the cheeks, the sinuses and the upper jaw. The bottom branch, the lower jaw, the teeth and the chin. Every single thing you feel on your face, warmth, cold, a kiss, a punch, travels through this nerve before your brain even knows about it. Now imagine the face as the front gate of the nervous system. It is where the outside world meets the brain most directly. The eye must be protected from dust and trauma. The nose must detect irritants before they reach the lungs. The mouth must distinguish food from danger. The teeth must signal pressure and pain. The meninges, the protective membrane around the brain, must warn the brain about inflammation, pressure and chemical disturbance. The trigeminal nerve patrols this territory. Let me explain how. Let's start by talking about cold stimulus headache, more commonly known as brain freeze. Here's what's actually happening. The roof of the mouth is carpeted in trigeminal nerve endings. When something ice cold hits them, like a slushy, a spoonful of ice cream, a frozen yogurt that you drank too enthusiastically, those endings, they start firing, and they fire hard. Now here's the part that nobody tells you. Those same nerve fibers, the trigeminal nerve branches that line the roof of your mouth, they don't just detect temperature, they also innervate the blood vessels at the base of the brain. Now when hit with something intensely cold, these fibers trigger a rapid vascular response. What does that mean? The blood vessels in the brain constrict and then they dilate suddenly. It's that sudden vascular shift, not the cold itself, that generates the pain signal. Here's where it gets really interesting. The trigeminal nerve serves both the palate and the forehead. When pain signals flood back along these fibers, your cerebral cortex, the part of the brain that interprets the sensation, cannot cleanly separate where they originated from. It maps the sensation to the forehead because that's a dominant trigeminal territory, even though the trigger was in your mouth. This is what we call referred pain in its purest form. It's not confusion, it's not an error that the brain makes, it's just the brain making a reasonable but wrong inference about the source of a signal. So brain freeze is essentially a harmless, short-lived trigeminal alarm that says, that was cold, very cold, please slow down. Now brain freezing can be amusing. What comes next is not. The membranes that wrap your brain, the meninges, are loaded with trigeminal nerve endings. We saw that. And in some people, those endings become hypersensitive. They start firing when they shouldn't. They release a cascade of inflammatory chemicals into the tissue around them. The blood vessels swell, the inflammation spreads, and the trigeminal system gets locked into a feedback loop it cannot get out of. That's migraine. It's not a bad headache. It's a neurological event, a neurological process. It's a fire in your pain system that can last for hours or even days, and that can make light feel like a physical assault and sound like it's tearing through your skull. The brain itself is largely insensitive to pain, but the meninges, those membranes that cover the brain, and nearby blood vessels are richly supplied by the trigeminal fibers. These nerve fibers form what we call the trigeminovascular system. When this system is activated, they can release some molecules, neuropeptides. The most famous one is called CGRP, calcitonin gene-related peptide, which can promote inflammation, sensitization, and pain amplification. This is one of the reasons why CGRP targeting drugs have become so important in modern migraine treatment. What remains debated is where a migraine attack truly begins. The ignition point of migraine is still one of the great open questions in neuroscience. What we know is that the trigeminal nerve is clearly central to migraine pain transmissions. Jump into cold water, really cold water, and within seconds your heart rate drops. Not just a little, it drops dramatically. Your blood vessels clamp down throughout your body. Your circulation reorganizes itself, pulling blood away from your limbs and redirecting it to your brain and heart. Your body has just switched into survival mode, automatically without asking for permission. This is what we call the diving reflex. And the thing that triggers it, the very first signal in the chain, is the trigeminal nerve. Cold water hits the skin around your eyes and the inside of your nose. Trigeminal fibers start firing. The brainstem receives the message, and within seconds it's reorchestrating your entire cardiovascular system. Free divers use this. Elite breath hold divers can drop their heart rate to 20 beats per minute, the heart rate of a sleeping whale. Partly by training this reflex, the trigeminal nerve is quite literally helping them survive underwater. Now here's the version that keeps brain surgeons alert. The same reflex can be triggered in the operating room during an operation. Accidentally touch the wrong structure near the face or the base of the skull during brain surgery, and the patient's heart rate can crash. I've seen this happen, and this is when the anesthetist suddenly wakes up. Now here's the darkest side of the trigeminal nerve. Imagine a pain so sudden and so severe that people have compared it to being struck by lightning in the face. An electric shock that lasts seconds and can happen dozens of times a day, many days in a row. Sometimes it can carry on for weeks. It's triggered by a gust of wind, by vibrations of your own voice, by brushing your teeth. Common triggers. This is trigeminal neuralgia, also called the suicide disease, for a reason. I have made a separate video about this. Now, the World Health Organization, WHO, considers it one of the most painful conditions a human being can experience. I've had patients who stopped eating because chewing triggered an attack. They stopped speaking. They became completely isolated because the outside world had become a minefield of potential triggers. The cause, in most cases, is a simple blood vessel, a small artery, pressing on the trigeminal nerve root where this enters the brainstem. Now that pressure slowly wears down the insulation around the nerve fibers, and once that insulation is gone, the nerve starts misfiring constantly, wildly, in response to almost nothing. Now here's what I find beautiful about it in the most bittersweet way possible. The fix is almost absurdly elegant. As neurosurgeons, we create a very small opening behind the ear, size of a 50-pence coin, we find the offending vessel. We gently move it away from the nerve and we place a tiny cushion between them. That's it. There's no cutting of the nerve, there's no destroying sensation, just relieving the pressure. It's an operation that takes about an hour and a half. And I've seen people waking up from the surgery, reaching up and touch their cheek for the first time in years without flinching, and just cry. If you're interested in knowing more about trigeminal neuralgia, I have linked my video on the suicide disease below. As we initially said, the face is where the outside world meets the brain most directly. The trigeminal nerve is wired into some very ancient protective reflex. Take a sneezing. A sneeze feels quite simple. Something irritates the nose, there's a tickle, then a sudden explosive release of air. But biologically, it is a highly organized defensive reflex. Dust, smoke, pollen or capsaicin, for example, the molecule found in chili peppers, activate trigeminal sensory endings in the nasal lining. These signals travel through the trigeminal nerve to the brainstem, where a sneeze program is triggered. The lungs fill, pressure builds up, and the irritant is expelled suddenly. A sneeze is not just an inconvenience. You might think of it as the trigeminal nerve defending your airway. Now, I want you to think about the last time you walked out of a dark building into bright sunlight, or stepped onto a beach, or glanced across the surface of a lake on a clear day. Did you sneeze? If you did, you're not alone. And you're not imagining it. Roughly 1 in 4 people experience exactly this. Bright light triggers a sneeze. Not dust, not pepper, just light. This should make no sense whatsoever. The leading explanation for this phenomenon involves a kind of neural interference. The optic nerve, carrying a surge of visual information from the retina, runs in close proximity to the trigeminal nerve. In susceptible individuals, that sudden flood of activity appears to spill over into the trigeminal pathways. The two nerves cross-talk. The brain, in effect, misreads the signal, and it concludes the nose has been irritated, even though nothing has touched it. The nose has been deceived by light. Now, what do you call a reflex this bizarre, this ancient and heritable? Because the evidence strongly suggests that it's genetic. It's passed down through families in a classic dominant inheritance pattern. You call it the autosomal dominant compelling helio-ophthalmic outburst syndrome, or, I kid you not, ACHOO.